Our company does a lot of restriping every year. It's one of the most common things that we do. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things that our crew does every single restripe to make sure that we make it a success. What's happening, guys? I wanted to share with you 5 of the things that our team does every single restripe. We have been restriping since the beginning of the company, right? So in 2018, we started line painting like crazy. We've made some standard procedures along the way, and we've documented how we do things. And I wanted to share with you, I've got the standard document open here, 5 things that our crew absolutely does every single restripe. I think if you incorporated some of these into your companies, maybe you'll find it helpful. All right, number 1. First thing we do is we make sure we're safe. This is absolutely priority 1. So for us, our safety includes making sure our guys have the appropriate high-vis clothing on. Once in a while, I've noticed they will forget, which we tell them, remind them, do this. High-vis clothing is huge. One other really big thing for us, guys, when we go to a parking lot and we drop the trailer door, it's part of our procedure to set out cones just outside of the trailer. And the reason why we do that is, you know, it's a trailer that's parked. It should be obvious, but I've heard just a terrible story on Facebook of a guy that did get hit and severely injured because he was walking from around the trailer and the car coming by didn't see him and just smoked the guy. So we also put cones out just to give it that extra layer of protection for our guys. We don't want our guys walking out from behind a trailer getting hit by a car. So that's big for us. And then all the other safety stuff we do too. Gloves are important for us. We just make sure before we start working, the guys are safe. All right. Number 2, this is called the mat. The mat, not the mat behind the camera filming. Sorry, Matt. The asphalt mat. So in our procedure, the first thing after we make sure we're safe and once the trailer door is down, before we unload any tools, any paint, any equipment, we have a painting canvas. You can go buy them at paint stores. We get a big size one. Usually it's like 15 feet by 15 feet. And we lay that down on the surface of the parking lot because nothing drives me crazier than when you unload a machine or you're trying to mix some paint or whatever and it spills and now you have like fresh paint all over somebody's parking lot. Drives me crazy. The mat makes sure that we keep the paint off the pavement, and it also makes sure that we can kind of have like an semi-organized workspace in the middle of a parking lot, as much as you could have an organized workspace. So every job we do, always make sure the mat is down. Okay, number 3. Even if it's a simple restripe and you know the lines are visible and everything's there, we do an assessment. So we make sure that the guys walk around, have a look at the existing markings, and they are looking for issues, basically. Like, are there any lines that are really crooked? Do the baselines of the stalls, are they all like the same distance? If you look down the line of the stalls, do we have to fix some of them? We're basically, before we lay any paint, we're trying to find things that we can make better. It's a big part of who we are. We charge, you know, a premium for our service with what we do, and we want to make sure that as part of that premium price, that customers are getting the best possible line painting experience. So an assessment of the parking lot is a great way to do that. Look for those potholes, dirt, anything like that. Just a quick note about that. Where we are, it's pretty dirty. So a lot of times our guys will go to a site and there is some like semi-dirty conditions. We'll make sure that part of their process is to spend the time and make sure that the surface is prepped and cleaned for the painting. So maybe we need to take a blower. We charge the customer for that because the expectation is that the parking lot is clean. Well, anyways, we make sure that the surface is good for paint. 4th thing we do is really simple. Every single job, absolutely, we have to do this. Calibrate our laser. So all of our equipment has a long line laser on it. So the typical way that guys would do that is you'd pull out like a long rope. Anyone who has a laser knows you pull out a long rope and you calibrate it against a rope. If we're just doing a restripe, we have a simpler way of doing that. So we always assume that the laser is calibrated as it travels from job site to job site. Sometimes the laser can get a little out of whack. So instead of pulling out a rope, at the very least, we'll make sure that our guys compare the laser and the gun to an existing straight edge on the property. So maybe a little hard to explain in video, but essentially they'll go to like a sidewalk that has a long concrete joint on it that's straight. And as long as we have a straight edge that we can use that to kind of double check and calibrate the laser. Make sure that if we paint a 100-foot long line, it's not going to have this beautiful banana. It's going to be perfectly straight. So even if they were just on a job site 2 hours before and they travel to another one, calibrate the laser, because my goodness, one laser out of calibration and it's not good. You have problems. That's the fourth thing. Fifth and final thing that we do. Every single job is our guys will give an end of shift report. Now, they don't do that on paper. We have an app, a project management app that we use for that. But that's something they do. They always report how much paint they used, the type of paint they used. They check a box, like literally a checkbox on their phone if the job is done, which is great because that alerts the operations team here in the office. The job is done. Now we can close it out. Or if the job isn't done, they give a really simple end of shift report in the like the Slack chat basically that we have in our app. So even if you guys are just like a one-man band and it's just you as an owner operator going out to paint, I would encourage you to do something similar, because if you can keep track of the information of like how much paint you're using, that really, really is helpful information for you. You'll be able to estimate better. If you learn like, man, I thought we were going to use like 4 pails of paint and I ended up using 6. Like just keeping track of that information, super helpful. So yeah, like I said, our company has a whole 2-page, or I think it's 3-page document just on how we do our restripe. There's a lot of little sub points in there, but those 5 things are an absolute must for us. Hopefully you incorporating some of those into your company might bring some value and make your restripes go a little bit smoother.